Okay, awesome. So today we're going to do some work. We're going to talk about a database that I actually reviewed. It was for a microfinance institution in Ethiopia. And I want for you guys to first kind of understand the environment in Ethiopia, kind of like what's going on and stuff like that. In a number of other countries, I guess you could say freedom of speech really isn't guaranteed. Right? I don't know how things are back home where you're from, but in certain countries, freedom of speech is not guaranteed and can get you locked up and in prison. Will get you in prison, right? And so I'm going to give an example of a particular country, and then we'll talk about how would you secure a database in this country. All right. So you have a number of stuff. This you'll read together, just so you can understand more about Ethiopia and stuff like that. Ethiopia is in East Africa. And they're next to Somalia. So they have a huge issue with terrorism. Remember earlier I talked about like world deadliest terrorist groups. Al-Shabaab is one of them, pretty much dominating most East Africa, and now all the way down to South Africa, which is Mozambique. And Ethiopia has a lot of issues internally because there's so many different ethnic groups that do not get along. A lot of times, due to colonialism, these countries should have never been countries, right? You have this ethnic group, this religious group, this religious group, and now they're being told, all right, you guys are now one country. And then once the person who colonized them left, they put one group against the other, one group in power, the other group feels like they're minorities. And then you have all types of turmoil that occurs. And for them to control all of those items that go on, they have to start monitoring communication and stuff like that. So I'm going to show this video first. It's a short video. I should make this bigger so you can actually see.
Come from. The state controls every little details of people's lives. They have a physical surveillance and an online surveillance. It's a very difficult society to live in. The default setting is repression. The government controls the internet to control journalism. When you control the narrative, you control the power. But through technology, I believe my people can take their freedom back. My name is Dal Kiala. I'm a doctoral student in communication studies. But before I came here from Ethiopia, I was an activist. I'm still an activist. Before I started class, I just want to talk a little bit about privacy. Anyone has a right to privacy. Privacy is a human right. So for me, privacy is just to be left alone. But privacy is some kind of alien concept in Ethiopia. The problem is repression.
Ethiopia has essentially been under one-party government for more than 20 years now. Political opposition members are being jailed and tortured. Journalists are getting arrested, charged with terrorism, put in jail for many years.
In Ethiopia, the main prison is divided into different zones, from zone 1 to zone 8. It's kind of dark, but they call all of Ethiopia zone 9 because we're all part of the prison. I consider myself as a journalist who has been writing on different social issues and communications with Ethiopia. This photo is the entire member of blogging collective for Zone 9. Because we've used the internet to tell story which offended the government, my friends, Zone 9 bloggers, apprehended and thrown into prison. 3 of us escaped prison. The first thing for Ethiopian journalists to know of the Ethiopian environment is it's a controlled one, which is highly spied by the government. You need to protect yourself. How? By using encryption. These days, journalists need to code, and coders need to be journalists. The lines between the two are blurring. I'm still in touch with activists who do not use secure technology, risking their lives. What I do is send them a collection of tools, tips, and technologies which will help those regular people and journalists to protect themselves. Now, Jitsi, this I explained that technology has helped them to speak their stories and to do journalism. That makes technology a very good thing. Technology gives voice for the voiceless. It gives opportunity for deprived people to tell their story. Ethiopia is my country. I love my country, but I need to participate in helping people to protect themselves. Privacy is important because there has to be an interior zone within each person that government doesn't see or control. This zone is for ideas and thoughts and free expression, a zone where you can share your doubts, secrets, and weakness. If Ethiopians have this, we could take down all 9 zones. Through technology, we can build a brighter future for Ethiopia, and that's what I'm fighting for.
All right, so what are your thoughts about the short clip? Any thoughts?
There are a lot of things that you don't like to think of it. So, yeah, I think it's really
Missing like the journalist in Saudi Arabia who was like dismembered, or just missing the whole body?
whole body is not. There's nothing.
The one item that I'm not sure, I didn't have, I don't have a clip for, but I can send out. I think I have a link to it. What is interesting, anybody ever plays games online, these flash games where you can hit somebody, hit somebody or click it. So Ethiopia was doing the same thing, and they were using, it was a German company that built the particular application. And when you would hit the opposing political party, they would drop cookies in your browser and start following you. Right. So you think you're playing some innocent game, like, all right, we need to start following this person. They could be a target, and they would start following you. And what Ethiopia does, everyone says they're worried about terrorism, right? So terrorism is like the magic word, right? 9/11 we can understand, but like now everybody terrorists, right? People are getting money, they're developing and strengthening their militaries, doing things with their borders, all in the name of fighting global terrorism. So what Ethiopia does say, all right, this person is now identified as a terrorist, and they will deploy many resources against that particular individual group. So that happens quite a bit. And the other thing is that there's not much oversight in terms of how this occurs. And so that's what's happening a lot in Ethiopia. Now, when you think about how this country controls everything, right? So they control all communications, every single thing. A neat story, when I was in Saudi, the Saudi government, if you go to a site that you shouldn't go to, the Saudi government will say in Arabic, it'll be written in Arabic and in English. If you think this is an issue, please message I think the Ministry of Communication or something like that. Like that's what the SSS, right? It's like, okay, we'll use a VPN, you're okay. And Ethiopia, they let you see whatever you want. However, everything is strictly monitored, right? So you think like, oh, wow, this is much different. So while I was there, someone explained to me, like, Mo, in Saudi, at least they tell you this is blocked. But it's like in Ethiopia, they watch every single thing is monitored in the name of, fighting global terrorism. All electronics, every transaction, every single thing is monitored by the particular government there. Very different. It is a I guess it's a true surveillance state. And a lot of movies, they talk about that, like, oh, the government's monitoring stuff like that. In this country, this is exactly what happens. Now, when you have something like that, it makes it extremely difficult for, you can see here that the normal Joe is unaware of using cryptography, right? They're unaware. Cryptography is not easy. It's not a hard thing to do. Anybody can use Firefox. They can install GNU PG, but people aren't doing it. They're not encrypting files and stuff like that. So how do you think organizations are handling this? Do you think organizations are handling this? No? Why no? Okay. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, so you have people, of course, who are in the government, but Ethiopia has like very strict laws. I'll give an example, right? So we're going to talk about the agriculture. So agriculture in Ethiopia is extremely big, right? So 21%, so 80% of all export revenues of the country and 21% of total government revenues come from agriculture. That's significant, right? That is significant. Now they have manufacturing. It's growing a bit because now the Chinese are having Ethiopians do the work because it's cheaper, but still agriculture is huge in Ethiopia. The other thing to note is that a lot of people in the country are poor, like extremely poor. That's one more thing to note. And then people don't own land. You lease land. In many countries across the African continent, you can buy land, no problem. Even if you're not even from the country, you can go and buy land, right? But in Ethiopia, it is extremely difficult. The other interesting part is a lot of people have to take it. You think about it, people are very poor. People have to take out loans to start a farming business. And so you're going to be doing a case study looking at one of the country's largest microfinancing organizations. Does anybody here know what a microfinancing is, or a microfinance institution? Correct. So in a country like this, a small amount of money goes a far way. A top medical doctor years ago would make the equivalent of $500 a month in the capital city. Think about that. $500 a month. You take someone who works at a hotel, they may make $110 a month. Right? So for us, though, that's what gas for a month here, especially with the almost $5 a gallon. So in this country, it goes extremely far. So when you think about that, what you're going to do is you're going to look at this particular case study. While I was in Ethiopia, I had the opportunity to evaluate a database architecture for the entire country, right? So I did it for this microfinance institution. We looked at everything from their data speeds to issues in terms of transporting data. It was just a lot. I'm going to show you the folder where I have everything contained. Good content. Sorry. Fat fingering a lot. All right. So here, how to use Veracrypt, but Ethiopia case study, Ethiopia research items. These are items about espionage from the Chinese, so the People's Republic of China. This is a paper that was published talking about, remember I said there's lots of extremists. The paper talking about, a book chapter talking about extremists in West Africa, East and West Africa. I'll pull that one up. And then these are all the issues about Chinese espionage in Ethiopia. What do we know about Ethiopia? Do you guys know anything about Ethiopia? Nothing. Okay. So I'm going to pull up the largest city. So there are 118 embassies in Addis Ababa. 118, right? So Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, is known as the third most politically important capital in the world, city in the world, right? Washington, D.C. Then you have where the European Union is. And then in this particular city, you have the African Union, right? How many countries are in Africa? Do we know? I would hope you know. Do you know? What about you back here? How many? More than 100. Our ancestors are upset. No, there's 54 countries in Africa. 54 countries. There's also 2 areas that are what's called unrecognized territories or recognized territories. Western Sahara, which technically belongs to Morocco. And then you have Somaliland, which is a country inside Somalia. So there's 56, but these other 2, they'll never be countries anytime soon. So all these particular countries they all have representation in Addis Ababa. Now, what's interesting about the African continent, what are the major religions? Islam. Okay, so if a major religion is Islam, who else do you think is there? What other countries do you think have lots of representation there? Saudi Arabia, UAE, where? Turkey, all these countries, especially countries where there's a large amount of Sunnis, because Sunni is the largest group represented. Most Muslim in Africa, they're Sunni, right? Unless you're from Senegal, they have, it's Wahhabi, I think it's Wahhabianism, but it's different, right? It's a very moderate version of Islam that's there. But yes, yeah, so you have all these countries in the Middle East, because when people talk about Africa, it's MENA, Middle East, North Africa, right? All the Maghreb, it's North Africa, Berbers and stuff like that. So you have that. Then you have what other major religion? Well, it's Christianity, right? Now, if we go below Christianity, what other religion do you think is key there? No, well, I guess you would say, well, it's Judaism. Yeah, so Ethiopia is home to a lot of Jews, right? If you ever see a video and they show like Israel, you see a lot of blacks there, more than likely they're Ethiopian Jews, right? So Israel has a huge play in Ethiopia as well, right? Huge play. And so you have all of these things, right? You have these countries, tribes, religions, and outside entities that are in Addis, right? Which country is giving away, well, they're almost like giving away money to the rest of the world, developing world? Which country? No, you think we give away money? I don't even give away money to my kids. I'm like, here's $20, you owe me something.
Doing it, but they're like,
China is China. Yes. Right. So the Chinese are heavy in Addis, right? Heavy. They're heavy there. So what's interesting is the Chinese built a building. They built the African Union building. But I'll show you how this building looks. It's amazing. They built a lot of government buildings in Africa. So I'm going to show you how the building looks. So that is the building. It's amazing. They built the building. They say, hey, here is our gift from China to you, Africa. So they built the building. They also outfitted every single thing in here with Huawei equipment in their, what other equipment they have, right? Is that good or bad? Is that really a gift? Why you say no? Oh, Oh yeah, they know everything that's going on. It's like, hey, you know what, guys, accept this multi-million-dollar gift. You know, it's okay. And so they give this gift to all these African nations, like, wow, this is beautiful, like something free, right? So all the cameras is all Chinese, all these servers, everything is Chinese. And so it's been reported at least twice that the Chinese government has done acts of espionage. The first time these servers were sending information back to China at night, and someone actually monitored and said they've been doing it for years. The second time was security cameras. So they were checking everybody coming in and out the African Union building. So they knew everybody who was coming in and out. And so all communications were being monitored pretty much from the Chinese. And this is interesting because when you think about who has access to, if you have access to the information, then you can do whatever you want, right? And that's why in the US, especially in the federal government, we say, all right, we're going to acquire a particular technology. We have to go through and we have to harden it ourselves, or we have to do a trusted developer, right? The common criteria, we have to have a trusted developer, has to go through some certification accreditation process, right? So you have huge issues with the Chinese and Ethiopia. You have them all over Africa, but yeah. So this right here just links like African Union being bugged, Chinese claims it built backdoors in the African Union. Chinese dismissed the African Union headquarters spying claim. But it's true. That's what they did. Now, this particular item is a paper written about security in the region. All right, so right here, let me click it again. All right, so this right here, so the center of Ethiopia is one of the most holiest cities in Islam, right? Harare. Outside of Ethiopia is Jewish and Christian, and Orthodox Christian. However, Sudan is Muslim. Uganda, a lot of Muslims here, a lot of Muslims here, all Muslim. So, and then this is Muslim right here, right? Sudan, then so this is a Muslim, Christian, Jew surrounded by mainly areas that are Muslim. All right. So you have that. Also, every part of Ethiopia is broken up by ethnic ties. Every part. When you get towards, there's an area in Ethiopia called Somali. This is the Oromo land. And then in Sudan, they have people that share borders. Because remember, because of colonialism, they put people together that should have never been together. Now, the good thing about Ethiopia is that this was the only country in Africa that was never colonized. The only country never colonized. However, when you still have people from different groups that don't get along, it creates turmoil inside. All right. So I have this lovely piece you can read. Yeah, this right here just talks about the relationship with Somalia. It talks about infrastructure projects, oil, and then this is on Nigeria. So you need to look at that. All right, yeah, so a lot of stuff here to help you understand kind of the area a bit more. And then you have the case study here. These are all the items that I captured on my assignment. Remember I was telling you guys that I have the ability to send people, if you're at least a permanent resident, to go do work in one of these countries? This is from one of these this is from this assignment. So I went there as a volunteer and they had me work with the individual who was in charge of this particular, basically he's like the director or director of IT, would be like the CIO for an entire organization. So there's a presentation here. Here's the actual Farm to Farmer Volunteer East Africa volunteer assignment, my presentation brief. The internet here is super slow, and that's the government's doing their infrastructure. And that's done because there's so much monitoring that happens. So generally you have to get a VPN out of South Africa because they have the best internet laws in the entire continent. So South Africa. All right, so you can take a look at that. And then I'm going to pass out this. This is the official information. This is the information communications technology strategy for the microfinance organization. We're going to pass this out. Okay. And for those online, it is this particular document here. This is my comments, but these are the same documents. Here is the consolidated presentation and then a brief. That's yeah, so this is the brief that I did. Oh, and this organization is always asking for me to send a volunteer there. They always want somebody to go back and do more work. So I still, the actual individual, this is the actual individual who still runs it. We still chat on Google Meet, still chat all the time. So he always needs volunteers to come there as they're still trying to do more stuff. Because one, salaries are very low. And they're trying to do a lot and they need expertise. All right. I just go through and talk. So one of the issues was like a 5-year plan, review of the database architecture that they had, point of sale. They had database integration issues. So it just like shows my schedule, calendar. That was the architectural layout. It's talking about their the ability to, you know, oh, just sorry, this was the amount of data for one branch. It's not much data, but remember, our agriculture is big, and this was the main organization. The sad part is, when you look here, since their internet speed was so bad, they would have to drive like several hours away with like 2 thumb drives with thousands of people's data, their PII, their personal identifiable information. So their government information, loan information. When you apply for a loan, of course, you're asking about, you know, how much money do you make? Is someone going to co-sign? The parcel? What are you going to do? Everything for the application was on a thumb drive. They usually had 2, and 1 got lost. It happened all the time. So when you have someone traveling like that, that would mean that you now have someone's data that you could use. This data was never encrypted. So imagine you have all the stuff not encrypted, you just lose it, no big deal. So that was a big issue. Also, there was no, they had no hardware software listing. So they had no hardware software listing. There are huge database integration issues. So if they push something out, the rest of the sites wouldn't get it. And if they did, there were issues in terms of it working. And then they were trying to do something that I call it it's the tech city of East Africa, which is Nairobi. So in Nairobi, you can do everything with your mobile device, right? So if I want to do like mobile farming, I can do it with my device. They have something called M-Pesa, and with M-Pesa, I can send money and I can do all that stuff, right? Oh, you need $20? Okay, I sent it to you. In a lot of countries, like PayPal may not even work appropriately. You may have to do Western Union, right? How do you guys send money back in India? What is it?
UPI.
UPI? Okay. If I sent money through PayPal, would you get it?
No.
You say what? Okay. So in this country, in some countries, you don't get it at all. And so having something like M-Pesa really revolutionized Kenya. So Kenyans use their mobile devices more than in countries like Austria, right? So you think about that. Because in many countries, in African countries, you didn't have landline set up. It just went straight to mobile devices, right, in terms of the rollout. So that really changed a lot. Also with M-Pesa, you don't have to use a smartphone. It could be one of these old flip phones and it will still work, right? It's just that robust. And so this country, Ethiopia, wanted to mimic what Kenya was doing and is doing. They want point of sale terminals for dealing with this stuff. They want all these particular items integrated into their system. Then in terms of database issues, this is here, I pulled up options, you know, database option 1, MySQL. I talk about Maria database. If you're using Kali, Maria database is there. I talk about Postgres, point of sale stuff again. So take a look through this, and what you guys are going to do, you are going to work together. We have 1, 2, well, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11. All right, let's break up in about 3 groups. You're going to create presentations, and we are going to, you're going to go through all this information, look at the other information, and think about how would you develop an architecture that would work in an area like Ethiopia. And you're going to think about all the constraints. We're going to do that for a bit, and after we do that, then we're going to jump into research paper, and then we're going to help you guys do the outline, and then we'll talk about topics and how to knock it out quickly. All right? So choose your own groups, 3 groups. Just divide up. So 11 people. It's not going to be dividing up equal, obviously. During COVID, I was traveling probably too much. All right. So for those online, you guys will, there's 12 of you guys online. So you can break up into groups. What I'll do is I will create groups here. and you'll be able to break into groups. Let me I'm going to create breakout rooms. All right, so I'm creating the breakout rooms and all rooms are open. All right, rooms are open. So you're in your breakout room. So go to your breakout rooms and you guys can work as groups.
doing? Are
Okay.
we defining the slide or are we
No, so
um
you're thinking about how to develop an architecture, and you think about like database, like you can think about like security controls, like database security controls, and what things that you should implement in order for the system to be secure and actually exist in Ethiopia.
oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
That
and
makes sense.
you remember the controls I sent out, the NIST 853? You can use
Yeah.
those. Like, what would you actually implement in this particular environment based off what I said, like the location in terms of the traveling 7 hours with the data plain text on USB drives. So think about these particular items and what type of controls that you would actually implement to ensure that this particular system is secure.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you. All right, and we'll probably end up stopping in about 35 minutes. You guys will present, and then we'll hit on the writing piece. All right, Neha, I got your message about no one being in a room. There's 3 rooms. Nobody is in room 3. So yourself, Rochelle, and Alan, others should join room 3. So room 3 is open. Room 3 has no one.
Hello, Professor.
Yes.
Actually, I can't find the room invite, and so can I join room 1?
Yeah, the room is open. You should be able to just go to room 3. It's open.
Yeah, but I can't find anything which is directing me to that. Or else could you please send me the invite again?
I don't know if I can send it again. It's I'm trying to see how to see. Let's see if I can. I think if you look at your screen, let me do the stop share. All right. Look at breakout rooms. See if breakout rooms is on the bottom of your Zoom browser.
I have no option below. It's just showing participants, chats, share screen, reactions app. There's no option available saying
Okay.
breakout rooms.
I just did a share your screen so I can see exactly what you're seeing.
I can't see your screen.
No, I'm trying to see your screen.
Okay. Oh,
So
you want me to share my screen?
yes, I can see exactly what you're seeing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
It's not coming up yet. All right, just do another reshare.
um, can you see it right now?
Yeah, but I can't see your Zoom browser. No. Okay. I mean, you're sharing your screen. You should have your browser. Okay, you see where it says you're viewing. What? Okay, this is weird. Why? Okay, share your screen again. You should have something that says Zoom meeting. Okay, no, I'm gonna do it. Let's see.
Um,
I have a better idea. I'm just gonna assign everyone assigned this. Not join. I'm gonna assign people to rooms. Let me just do this. Three, three.
yeah, I got it right now.
Okay, awesome. All right, cool. Okay, I just did that. I was like, I know there's another way, so.
Professor.
Oh, yes.
Oh, no, never mind.
You sure?
Yeah, no, I'm okay.
You sure you're okay? You sure you're sure?
Wait, okay, so I got disconnected from the breakout room, but it's taking me to room 3, but I was in room 1.
Okay, let's see. And this is Griselda. So let me. All right, you're moved to room 1.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, for those here and online, I just got an email about a free PhD course, and they give you a certificate. It's on the course is called Ethics in AI. It's a 4-week course. It's October, November. I'll send out the link if you guys want to sign up. Like I said, it costs $0. It's free, and I'll send it out. So there's a listserv I belong to called the AIS listserv. So if you decide to get a PhD or whatever, this particular link, people are advertising jobs, research opportunities, funded PhD positions. I'll share the link, and I'll share this particular course because these free courses are good. It's always good to pad your resume with new skills and stuff like that. It's always good. And if it costs you nothing, then why not do it? It's a lot of sneezes back to back. Like the third sneeze and cough I heard today. What'd you say? I hope not. Like I have a lot of stuff planned this weekend. So you said it's the climate? What's wrong with the climate? You said it's getting cold? You think it's getting cold? Oh, trust me. This is still warm. You can wear shorts and sandals. All right, you got a few minutes left. So let's try to wrap it up in like the next 8 minutes. And then we'll start group by group. Zoom recording. You can share your screen and we'll start group by group. So did the guy, who wants to go first? So if you want to go, you can just take control of the presentation. Sorry, take control of Zoom and then present. So any takers? All right, is somebody going to share? All right, seems like I'm just waiting here. How about you guys back here? Go ahead and share. It's okay. There's no wrong or right answer. Let's see what you guys got. Sorry? Okay, take 2 more minutes. I don't know if you actually meant 2 minutes, but you have like a minute left. All right, Dylan, we see what you're sharing. Yeah, or you want to come here and talk in this microphone? Yeah, talking to that, open up. You think you have your microphone, right? Oh, don't worry about it. You can talk. Oh, open your microphone up. Let's see if that works. Yeah, open your microphone up.
Test.
Yeah, they can hear you.
Okay, cool. Okay. So the first thing that we decided to implement was to cover electronic communications between different sites or different places. Basically, want to implement an email client like Thunderbird that can utilize an easy way to encrypt messaging, communications. So like we did in that lab, we can use OpenPGP. It's pretty simple. In the event that the organization does still want to do things like physically transport drives, they can exchange keys for those drives through this encrypted email too, so that they can encrypt it and decrypt it at separate locations. So that was one thing that we thought was important to implement. For the database management system, we decided we're going to implement MariaDB. It's pretty easy. It has it's open source. It's free. It supports formats that they were already using for their reports, and it supports encryption at rest and in transit.
So why would you choose Maria database than the other databases that exist?
This one was, we were looking at the MySQL versus MariaDB, and it said that this one had more encryption features, security features involved right away.
Okay.
So I just saw that and I was like, okay, well, if their biggest concern is encryption, then that would speak to them.
Okay.
So that's why I picked that one. I understand that MySQL is more popular, but this one has an open source community as well, so there'll be support anyway.
Okay.
Next, we said that if they're going to physically transport drives, and they should encrypt those drives. And like we said, you could exchange the keys to encrypt and decrypt those drives through our electronic communication system, through email, if that's the way that they want to do it. POS system. So the number one thing is we know that the internet speeds there are really bad, so we don't want a POS system that's going to totally rely on being online the whole time. This one is free. It supports exporting things to a CSV. It tracks transactions while they're offline. So that's why we picked that one, because it's free. It has offline capabilities, and it's pretty easy to set up for them. You can use a tablet or mobile device to conduct the transactions, or you can use a different system if need be. So if they're trying to implement replicate what they're using in Kenya, they can use somebody can use a phone to pay at the point of sale if they need. Do you guys want to go over the access controls? You did a lot of those.
The access control 21 is
Yeah, sorry.
information sharing, which restricts the information to be shared, and the one without access can't and have the information which has been shared by the people. And you can control.
Yeah. So going to
I put it over there so they can hear you, but
okay. Yeah. So yeah, looking at access control 19 and 20, since we're talking about mobile phones, mobile systems integration. So yeah, and if we're planning to do mobile payments, they could be used like to integrate and help protecting from for integrating like when there was going to be mobile integration. So yeah, that's why I chose the two of them, 19 and 20 mostly. Yeah, but yeah, that's all.
That's everything.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and jump to the next group. You guys over here. You guys stop sharing. And so this right here is going to help you with the actual assignment coming up. So you being your same group, we have an assignment coming up that deals with this case study. Okay, we can hear your voice.
Try and share this screen.
Hello. Yeah.
No, you won't be able to hear yourself, but
Yeah.
So today I'll be talking about the introduction for this case study in the modern business from the indispensable ability of the information and communication technology is capable for any organization to thrive, especially one like BG's or IT strategy is crucial. Okay. Yeah, this strategy aligns with an organization's vision, missions, and the profits its performance while invigorating its team. And if we go, yeah, yes, the purpose of the strategy is this strategy document serves an foundational guide, emphasizes the role of the ICT as a pivotal tool for the modern business operation. It sheds lights on the opportunities. This successful adoption and leverage of ICT and contingent upon the skill set.
so skip the strategy and the purpose. Tell me what you're gonna do to make this system work.
In this system, so we have to like, okay, so we have to like take the new ICT strategy that has been discovered, the mission of
Okay. One key to think about this: in developing countries, people are limited to funds, right? Now, people are making millions of dollars at the very top, right? It's like you have someone taking, there's $1 million and someone took like $900,000 and everyone gets to do stuff up 100,000, right? It's like, all right, I'm in charge. You take our 900,000. Here's your 100,000. Make it work, and that is what is occurring. So, open source solutions, those that are low cost, those that can take advantage of resources that are older, work well, right? So when you guys spoke about the POS and open access, that's perfect because why? They have they don't have any budgets. There's no real budget. And when you convert dollar to Ethiopian birr, it's a lot. So there's lots of issues. This is one of the countries that you can exchange money in the black market fairly easy. If you've never done that before, this is the country that you can do it without any problem. You're laughing over. Have you done that? You exchange money in the black market? You would never. What do you mean? I'll give you advice after class, okay?
Yeah.
All right, it's not as bad as you think. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. And then we'll go to the objectives where the ICT infrastructure and connectivity, where we can improve the governance and the management, business process and the resource management. There are flexible access to services that can be anywhere, anytime to the customers. Create the platforms that helps BG establish to data mining and knowledge management system.
Yeah. Just
I'll stop.
Mute your mic, and you have your mic on.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, for the implementation, we have the strategy. We are going with the phased approach. Initially, to convert the whole of the company into the ICT with the ICT infrastructure, it will take around 3 to 5 years. So, we are going with the phased approach. In this, we have 3 phases. In the first phase, we call it the startup phase, where we build in such a way that we have smoothly operating ICT infrastructure and applications, and also we create awareness in the employees and let them start the usage of the ICT. Then we have the phase 2, where we review the results of the phase 1 and decide to scale up the whole approach in the size and quantity. Then we have the phase 3. We evaluate both the phase 1 and phase 2. Then we plan to scale up the whole infrastructure. We also have the another approach, which is piloting. Initially, we can't do the whole ICT approach in whole of the company in a one go. So we practice that in a small scale and look for the flaws and everything, and we correct them and do in the large scale.
Okay.
That's it.
You guys are good? All right,
Yeah.
over here.
No, we have another.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so technology infrastructure is the main part of our kind of for any financial institution. And what we are proposing here is like we'll be using the famous T24 banking system that is being widely used in developing countries. Especially, I have worked with this myself. Most of the banks in Pakistan are using this, and it is secure. And then beside that, we have to have some robust and available, highly available database, and Oracle kind of beats everyone in that area. So we propose that this should be used, and then in the event of a disaster, there should be a disaster recovery site. There's a typo over there. Actually, it should be disaster recovery. Uh, Disaster recovery is always needed when it comes to banking, because I remember an instance. It happened back in Karachi. So Karachi is the like financial capital of Pakistan. It's like New York of Pakistan. So what happened was like I worked in the central bank, and ours there was a torrential rains. Like they went on and on for like 3 4 days. So our servers were kind of in danger, and our operations were like which were running on those main servers. They kind of got disturbed for like half an hour or an hour, because then um, the whole operations got switched to the disaster recovery systems, which were placed somewhere else in another city. So that actually highlighted the importance before our eyes, that it's very important. So we propose that this should be there. And then the capabilities of data center are very important. It comes into the category of kind of database systems and stuff, but data centers themselves have great importance in the banking system, so they should be watched. And then there is this recommendation that the operations of all the systems, it's not just T24, all the systems should be seamless, and they should not, because T24 gets its data from the Oracle. So if Oracle gets down, so then there's a problem for T24 itself. So the seamless operations should be ensured, and then special focus should be paid on security. Um, For data centers, there's a general point like the data governance framework should be very robust. It should cater to like all the it should comply with the regulations, and then it should cater to highest technological standards, because at the end of the day it is dealing with money. And the technology should be scalable. Like if a bank is growing, then the technology should be able to cater to the needs. Mm, then there are like two principal people who are responsible for the whole operation. The ICT manager, who is like evaluating the whole operations and conducting like um analysis, like which service needs ICT more in that, like which things can be automated and stuff like that. So he brings kind of more and more ICT into the system. So he kind of leads the initiatives. So he should be very credible and skilled person. Uh, and then there's ICT support officer, like they should have a lot of ICT support officers who provide on-site supports and install and configure the hardware and software and manage the accounts and stuff. So yeah, that's all from us.
All right. So you guys are good. Let's go down to
you.
this group here, and then we'll hit the online groups.
We actually asked you what I have to, yeah. I was like, I should jump in, but then I was like, yeah, I should wait because you were
I
talking.
didn't, because I thought
All right, let's go. Let's see what you got.
Yeah, so when coming to over here, so we had infrastructure of me, of Prakash and Arvind and Divyansh. When coming to database, so in my point of view, yeah, so we'll be using a MySQL and Post SREGL, like these are the databases which we're using for the most open source databases.
Okay.
At the same time, if the main purpose of choosing these both are like in most of the IT sectors and consulting firms, like MySQL and PostgreSQL would be taking as examples for getting the data from different domains when we're working on the projects. And when
No, I noticed you're using MySQL, but the group behind you is using a Maria database. So what is your argument against that?
sorry, what was that?
They're
It's
using
more
Maria
reliable.
database.
As it is used by more people, it is more reliable and
Okay. Are you worried about security at all? Because they said it's more secure. They said Maria database is more secure. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, when in my point of view, like those are well secured.
and it is easy to use.
So Maria database isn't easy to use? You don't know?
I don't know. We have used MySQL.
Okay.
So when coming to access control, AC2, AC2 and AC21 and AC19, like these are the main requirements to establish any ICT. So as of now, like we are only done with only 2 ICT parts. So when coming to over here, like it will manage all the identities, like it can be the username and password. It will check the length of the password, like minimum 8, and when coming to credentials part, like when we log in with the n number of times, it automatically locked. So by using some of the authentications, like we'll be using this access controls over here. So when coming to data encryption part, like by using where we are having a different set of encryption methods, but in my case, like we can use DriveCrypt and VeraCrypt, where we has done in the last class. So we to use it for the encryption and decryption of the data.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what.
It's what like, we have done so far.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Let me go to the groups online. All right, groups online. There's 3 of you. You can choose who wants to share first. So you can select who wants to go first. Oh, maybe are they still in their rooms? Let me close our rooms. Okay, there's 6 participants. So online, are you ready to share? All right, we're sharing. So let me share my screen real quick. All right. All right, so I'm going to share this. This is the actual assignment. The assignment is a presentation on East Africa cybersecurity. It's a chapter that was written. So everything that you just looked at, there was actually a chapter published on cybersecurity in East Africa. I'll share the chapter in a bit. You can see exactly what was written. And so what you'll do is you'll get the chapter from this particular link, and I'm going to give it to you because otherwise it's going to cost you money, and I don't think you should have to pay for it. Let's see. And the screen does that. All right, here's the actual chapter. So this is the chapter right here, right? This is the published chapter from the report and all the information captured. So abstract, national security implications. So there's everything right here. Again, I'm not going to have you pay like $40 to get the chapter. I'm going to share it to you for free. And you're gonna do a you're gonna have chapter understanding. So comprehend the East African cybersecurity chapter, ensure each group member understands the key concepts discussed in the chapter, content creation, develop a presentation that summarizes the main points, challenges and solutions discussed in the chapter. You're going to record the presentation. You'll have it on Google Drive. You'll share the link so it can be viewed. And then right here, I just have sort of the information on the grading rubric. So in terms of the chapter, I'm going to bring that up now. And actually, I'll just, email this out. So here's the actual chapter. Yeah, so this is the published chapter right here. So it ended up being approximately 5 of us that worked on the chapter. We took all the information that you guys had. We used NIST 853 and some other documents. And so that's where you see NIST 853. We talked about the security faults within the database. And then the issue in terms of there was no baseline cybersecurity controls to ensure a hardened system, right? So when you went through and you looked at it and you're coming up with controls and what should be done, there was no baseline associated at all with the system. And so that's pretty much what the abstract discusses. We give an introduction of the particular organization. So here it just says, talk about that the Ethiopian government has identified microfinance institutions as a priority institutions as part of strategies for poverty reduction and development programs. And in this particular organization, which was founded in 2001, started business in 2002, and mainly to address the financial needs of the urban and rural poor. So a lot of Ethiopia is rural. I mean, a lot of people live in Addis, but it's a big country, and there's a lot of people live in rural, a lot of farmers. Agriculture in some African countries is extremely big. And I told you earlier just how important it is. So I talk about the importance of Addis, capital, largest city, known for being the country's center of education administration. It contains a great deal of landmarks. And then it's one of the most significant cities on the African continent and home to the African Union headquarters. If you fly into the African continent, one of the largest airports, I believe it is the largest airport, is Ethiopian Airlines. Right? It's extremely large, extremely chaotic, but it's airlines that goes all over the continent. So here it says more than 70% of the population is employed in the agriculture sector. 70%. So this is why the database is so important. 70%, more than 70%, right? That's a lot. That's pretty much the country is employed in the agriculture sector. I talk about national security implications. And this is what I mentioned, Somalia and other neighboring countries. Talk about the mobile payment system, M-Pesa, which I mentioned earlier. I talk more about the microfinance organization. I give a project overview. I give a problem statement, problem discovery. I actually draw out the database architecture. So the main office in Addis, there's branch offices, and then the facility field branch. These are in much smaller cities, hours out from Addis. It could be 7 to 10 hours out. It's out. It's very remote. One of the other issues is that this organization submitted payments of $1,350, right? So when you convert that, it's about $37,000 of their funding. Remember, a medical doctor, an elite medical doctor may make $500 a month. It's a huge strain on the organization and a lot of the money going towards consulting. We give project recommendations. So you talk about Open Knowledge Manager, OpenKM. Discuss the managing the system documentation. We talk about Thunderbird. We talk about IMAP, of course. We talk about Enigmail. And then we talk about Veracrypt. And then we propose a low-level database architecture for the actual database. So login attempt, password, security controls, authentication, login rejected, authorization, login rejected, if not successful, access granted, and the customer enters the system. So we created a low-level database architecture for actually accessing the system. What's interesting, based on the information that you guys had, which was just the, I guess, just the plan, the 5-year plan. Oh Lord, are you the 6th person coughing, or just the 5-year plan? You guys are able to come up with a lot, right? And a lot of assumptions were actually pretty good in terms of what you came up with, like controls, what type of payment systems, things that you should consider in actually developing this particular architecture. We talk about security controls, but in the security controls, we talk about, access control, awareness and training. We didn't state specific controls for this particular system, but what we did was we talked about family controls and what family controls should be implemented. Again, incident response, maintenance, media protection, planning, risk assessment. We go through all of them, and then we come up with a conclusion. So what you're going to do is you are going to go through this. You'll create a presentation, and doing the earlier exercise that we just did, it should make this particular assignment super easy, because you already collected a lot of data. You read the information. You should be able to put the information out fairly quickly. So that was kind of the reason for getting in groups. So you have your groups already. You've already done stuff. And so when you go do this, this should be quick and easy. All right. So we're going to take we're almost done with class. We'll take a 10-minute break. After the 10-minute break, we'll pull up the paper, and then we'll discuss it. So we have the option of taking a 10-minute break, pulling up the paper, or I can just do it this Sunday. So what is your preference? I'll let you guys decide. The mighty and few that chosen to come to class. What do you guys want to do? You want me to talk about it Sunday, or you want me to take a break, come back and talk about it till class ends? So Sunday, raise your hand if Sunday. Okay. Well, it's gonna be a while. It's gonna go through. Okay. All right. All right. We're gonna take actually, let's see, 10-minute break. I'll come back and then we'll go through the paper. We'll go through ideas and all that stuff, and I'll show you guys how to formulate it. Let me pause. There. All right, so we're going to do the paper this weekend, and we're going to cover this because this one is important. So this is the one that you guys had a lot of questions with. And so this deals really with what we call requirements engineering. So with requirements engineering, you have two different types of requirements, right? We have a requirement that has will. And this is what's called an objective requirement. Then you have shall. And my handwriting is not the best. This is a threshold. You must meet this requirement. Spell it right. So we're only going to be concerned with shall requirements. So here it says access control selection, right? So choose 6 access controls at the moderate and high level. So the access control can say thou shall, well, it may say implement mandatory access control. So when you do a requirement, you state only what you are going to do. You do not state what you're not going to do. So if it says implement, we'll say Mac, implement Mac. All right, implement Mac. The system shall, right? The system shall use Mac, right? Simple as that. You don't state, your requirement should not state what you won't do. Anything that you won't do is understood because you're only stating what you shall do. Now you may have something, say if you have something for cryptography, right? Requirement is system encrypts plain text. Right? That is your requirement. System encrypts plain text. Now you may have to write multiple shall statements for that particular requirement. So, other control. The database shall encrypt data at rest. But with something that says system shall encrypt plain text, the data, we could say emails shall be encrypted, something like that, right? So you think about where any of the data is that's in plain text, and you write statements of that. Database shall be encrypted, email shall be encrypted. You guys got me? I'm going to pull a requirement up. Let me see if I can pull one up. Oh, and this right here just says, provide a detailed explanation after each shall statement, elaborate the context, implementation certificate of the requirement. And that's what you're do, right? So if it says, provide a detailed explanation about the requirement, elaborate the context, like this one will be like, this requirement requires encryption of all plain text, base system, email, data at rest, data in transit. This basic is that. So doing a job like this is actually pretty good. This deals with enterprise architecture. There's actually a system. I'm going to show you how it looks. I'm not a fan of it, but I used to do this years ago. The system called Dynamic Object-Oriented Requirements gives me bad memories. See if I can open image. All right. So here is an example of how it works. So you see user requirements. That's what you can do. You see it? The user shall be able to receive a hot beverage from the coffee machine after payment. And what this right here does, this actually, you're able to drill up to a higher requirement and drill down to a lower requirement because requirements flow down, right? The system shall use encryption. This particular system shall use this type of encryption. It just drills down. The user shall be able to select between coffee and tea, hot water when ordering hot beverage. If the user selects coffee as a hot beverage, the user shall be able to additionally select milk. And so this system right here manages requirements and how they flow out. An example. You may get something that's very broad. you may get an item that you need to be compliant with and then say, system shall be compliant I think it's DoD 5200, something like that. I think it's 5200. Right, I mean, you may get something like that. And so this one particular requirement gets drilled down, right, to like several others based on a number of things. And that's what generally happens, right? Generally, you have requirements, you have project level, you have system, you have subsystem, you have CS, CI, and then you have CI. And the requirements will generally fall somewhere in here, and you'll flow them down. So that is what generally what happens. So this exercise is to expose you to just taking, you know, simple statements and then breaking them out into requirements. Let me see. Bless you. Open. Oh, it opened over here. Sorry about that. What I'm going to do now is going to show the spreadsheets. You can see the control text right here, right? Enforce a role-based access control policy over defined subjects. Or defined subjects and control access based upon, and then assignment organization defined roles and users authorized to assume such roles or give additional information. And you will write your requirement off this, right? So if you have access control policies based on roles, to assume roles or whatever, then you can say the system shall implement role-based access controls RBAC. So it's taking this high-level item here and then writing shall statements associated with this particular item. That's it. All right, now we got 3 minutes left. Again, we'll cover writing the paper this weekend on Sunday. So I think about 6 should work. Should we get about 6 o'clock? All right. Put it out about 6 o'clock. We'll work about an hour. And then I will actually bring up a paper that I'm actually working on for publication so you can see how it looks. And I'll go through with the process because you can pull data from a number of databases, open access databases. So basically you're using secondhand data and it will make writing your paper so much easier, right? I'll show you quantitative tools you can use. If you actually want to do a quick survey, I'll show you how to do that. And this will allow you to get what you need done pretty quick. And it'll be good enough so you can actually publish it somewhere. Because that's really like the end goal. All right. Yeah, I'll send out the link later. Once I'm home, I'll send out the link and all that stuff. I do want to share this. I'm actually going to a conference called CornCon. I'm going to be there. You are more than welcome to show up. Here's the conference right here. So this is going to be in the beautiful city, the beautiful area known as the Quad Cities. 2 cities in Iowa, 2 in Illinois. Has anybody heard of the Quad Cities? And you're from here, right? But I mean, you're from this. You're from the States. Really? Goodness. Have you ever seen the movie? You ever heard the movie Field of Dreams? Yeah, it's that area. This is American history, my friend. I'm disappointed. All right, so CoreCon, it's the rise of AI. That's what they're talking about. You're gonna have U.S. Army Cyber Command there. A number of organizations will be there. Show you the agenda. Here's the agenda right here. So cyber strategy compliance consulting director will be talking. So they'll do a financial industry panel, incident response panel, shadow AI, how to run uncontrolled LLMs and impacting enterprises, and incident response playbook 101, forensics workshop, hackers are neither created nor destroyed. And this is to operational technology integration. Is the universe run by AI, and are we just NPCs in some cosmic game? I'm actually going there with kids, so I'll actually have my kids there with me. It's because they actually have all day Saturday. They have stuff for the kids that understand about security, stuff like that. But I would say go. The tickets they're like $50. However, let me show you this magic here. So let's see, agenda speakers. I went by merch, but where did I purchase? There's a hotel block. Don't do the hotel block. It's not worth it. I'm really trying to find. I'm trying to find a page where you actually sign up. You see it? Oh, Say Cyber Again. That's a great movie. If you've never seen it, here we go. Goodness. So here are the tickets. So I'm going to show you something. If you type in IEEE 25, I think that's it. Hit apply. And you'll see a huge reduction in price. All right. See that? IEEE 25. So you'll save some money. If you're filing yourself on taxes or your parents are, you can provide this to them. It's school related. Get this written off in your taxes. You can run off the mileage, the events. If you're low in money, you can share a room with someone or bunk or whatever, or sleep in your car. Just, make sure you have deodorant, you shower and all that good stuff. But it's good. It's good for networking. One of the key things about this country is networking with people, right? You want a job, okay, great. Because it seems like everybody here speaks a second language. Okay, so you're not unique. Everyone here has a great GPA. You're not unique. You want to get yourself in front of the hiring manager or people that can put you there. And then go to this conference, add people in your LinkedIn, expand your network, and then further use that to get to the place that you want. All right. So I'll see you guys on Sunday. You guys have a great weekend. And you guys online, I will see you guys as well. And if you're going to the conference, I will be there. All right, I will be there. All right, I'll see you.